Let's go to third base. Let's go to the hot corner here. Favorite DFS pitcher? Maddie, start us off.
Well, I think we're going to have to talk about the wind just a little bit more. I mentioned Kyle Hendricks before. I mean, he is my favorite play on this slate, and I think that Joe Ryan will probably be something like the second or even the most popular pitcher on this slate. It's probably Zack Wheeler, but Ryan gets up there. I don't think anyone's playing Kyle Hendricks because he's just not very good. He's not a guy who normally gets a lot of strikeouts, but I think the opportunity for him to stay in this game for several innings and like an inning or two longer than he normally would in a good start, I think that opportunity is just there because if he allows a lot of medium length fly balls in Wrigley, sometimes those wind up over the fence. Tonight, I think none of them wind up over the fence. And I think that he has a chance to put up one of his better games of the season if he can just throw the ball in the strike zone. Again, like this is a very quirky scenario in Wrigley with the wind blowing in to this extent. I don't think we've had a game like this, certainly not this season and probably not in a couple of years. So I think playing both pitchers in this Wrigley game makes sense, but Hendricks in particular, I think will be the more contrarian option. He's only 7,500, so he's my favorite play on the slate.
Kenny, what about you, weather dude?
I like Ian Anderson at $8,400. And with Garion here, Arizona owns just a 292 WOBA over the last 2 weeks. And Anderson has been on a tear with 16 strikeouts over his last two starts. It's not pretty when you look at the earned runs and the home runs that he's allowed. And, but look, he's lasting. We know he's got incredible talent. We know he's got incredible swing and miss upside. And the 16 strikeouts over the last two starts really give me a lot of encouragement that Ian Anderson can handle an Arizona team that looks absolutely dead in the water. I think that he gets the win here as a heavy favorite on the DraftKings Sportsbook, and I think that makes him a very good option at pitcher at just $8,400. I agree with Gary in here. I think that the projections are way too low on him.
All right, talk to me here, Garion.
So yeah, I do like Ian Anderson at 8,400, but since Kenny talked about him already, let's talk about Zack Wheeler for a second because I do think he's in an interesting spot tonight. He's going to be supremely popular. There's no question about that. He's the most expensive pitcher on this slate. He's been pitching really well lately. 1.02 ERA, 2.31 FIP across his last three starts, a 32% strikeout rate within that span of time. But it's also just the way the top end of this pitching kind of shakes out tonight, where it's hard to find anyone who can match the upside of Wheeler. Like, I think you can count the amount of guys who have the potential to score 30 DraftKings points on one hand tonight, and maybe even on one finger, and that one finger is Zack Wheeler, because Luis Garcia is simply not the archetype of pitcher that should be $10,000. You've got, as Matt mentioned, Walker Buehler going into Coors Field, where that not only affects, the possibility for home runs and things of that nature, but it does limit his strikeout upside. And then Chris Sale, who really has been, I don't want to say babied since he's come off the IL, but he's not been a guy who's going to go out there and throw 110 pitches. If you get 5, maybe 6, if you cross your fingers, innings out of Chris Sale, that's probably the best case scenario here. And he's yet to crest 30 DraftKings points since he's come off the IL. So I do think Wheeler has to be viable just because he clearly has the most upside of any pitcher on tonight's slate.